In a letter addressed to Speaker Chamal Rajapaksa, Opposition Leader Ranil Wickremesinghe, MPs Anurakumara Dissanayaka, Vijitha Herath, Suresh Premachandran and Mavai Senadiraja have expressed their protest against the decision taken at the party leaders' meeting yesterday to take the impeachment motion up for the debate on the 10th and 11th of this month.
The letter recollects the precedent made by former Speaker Anura Bandaranayake and the judgment of Justice Amaratunga on the powers of Parliament and the manner in which it was endorsed by Speaker Chamal Rajapaksa on the 9th of October. The letter states, quote, "The right to interpret the Constitution is the province solely of the Supreme Court that must not be disturbed, and their learned decisions of the interpretation must be treated with great respect. It is the interpretation of the Supreme Court that must stand. I should not make any ruling on this matter in following the Constitution, as it is a territory that is the exclusive preserve of the Supreme Court," unquote. The letter addressed to Speaker Chamal Rajapaksa adds that no resolution for the removal of a judge under Article 107(3) can be proceeded unless and until an independent body of persons is established by law. The letter adds that if the resolution is allowed to be proceeded without adhering to the above, it will amount to a serious violation of the Constitution and a breakdown of the rule of law. In conclusion, the letter adds that they request the Speaker to summon a party leaders meeting to discuss the constitutional issue that has arisen.
A group of golden key depositors have commenced a hunger strike opposite the official residence of the Chief Justice.
The group arrived in front of the Chief Justice's official residence in procession from Tumulla. During their march, the protesters arrived at the British High Commission, where they handed over a letter containing their demands. The group then commenced their hunger strike opposite the Chief Justice's official residence.
9,000 golden key depositors who have nothing to eat or drink have gone from street to street to every embassy, to every administrative body, and handed over letters highlighting the reality of what has happened to these depositors. Thereby we request that this country be provided with a clean Supreme Court, a clean judiciary and a clean legal system.
The Centre for Policy Alternatives, meanwhile, says that it is imperative that all parties concerned in connection with impeachment motion against the Chief Justice comply with the law. Issuing a statement, the CPA notes that the failure to do so will not only be in contempt of court, but will also precipitate a dangerous constitutional crisis that the country can ill afford. The CPA adds that the organisation hopes that the rule of law will prevail and that the judicial determinations will be fully complied with. Meanwhile, the Judicial Service Association of Sri Lanka urges all the parties concerned to respect the Supreme Court determination to avoid a constitutional crisis which will ultimately lead to lawlessness in the country. Issuing a statement, the association urges the Parliament to enact necessary legislations as recommended by the Supreme Court to probe alleged behaviour of Apex Court judges.
The President of the Court of Appeal, Justice S. Kandaraja, has lodged a complaint at the Bambalapitiya Police regarding threatening phone calls that he had received. Justice Kandaraja, in his complaint, states that the caller had threatened to kill him if he appears to hear the case of the Chief Justice Shirani Bandaranayake. The Colombo Additional Magistrate Tikiri Jayatilaka ordered the police to immediately commence an investigation into the complaint lodged. The complaint states that the calls were received a day before the judgment on the Chief Justice was announced, and that the complainant's son had responded to these threatening phone calls. Furthermore, the complaint that was lodged at the Bambalapitiya Police notes that one caller had identified himself as Sanjeeva and the other as Pereira. The magistrate had ordered the police to commence investigations into the incident by tracking down the phone calls of the suspects with the assistance of the mobile operator in question.
Today marks the 4th death anniversary of senior journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge. Let's take a look back at the illustrious career of journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge.
The 8th of January 2009. The editor-in-chief of the Sunday Leader newspaper, Lasantha Wickrematunge, was travelling to work via Athidiya Road in Ratmalana. The time was 10:25 in the morning. Assassins stole Lasantha's life, raising massive questions regarding the freedom of the media. An event to remember the late Lasantha Wickramatunge was held today at the Borala Cemetery. Relatives, political colleagues and friends were present at the event.
That grace appear. In his hand and think that we do that, his power and his force will get behind them.
A prominent journalist, politician and humanitarian, Lasantha Wickramatunge was a man of many skills. Lasantha established the Sunday Leader newspaper with the aim of uncovering the truth. Proving that the quill is stronger than the sword, Lasantha never shied away from exposing criminality no matter how far up the social ladder. Raising a strong voice against injustice, Lasantha Wickramatunge travelled down new paths in investigative journalism, amazing his critics and followers alike.
The 114th birth anniversary of late Prime Minister SWRD Bandaranaike was commemorated today. Former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga paid floral tributes at the statue of the late Prime Minister at Golfest. A group including the Governor of the Western Province, Alavi Maulana, were present at the occasion.
And up next is a look at Action TV.
Traders at the Ratnapura Public Fair have now been given the opportunity to allocate their spaces after the Municipal Council constructed a new building for the fair with the intention of increasing revenue. At the time of the old fair was removed and a new building was being constructed, the Municipal Council provided traders who already had allotted stalls there a written promise that they would be given priority when allocating stalls in the new building. The new building, which has a ground floor car park, comprises of 145 units or stalls. While traders are facing such practical issues, the Municipal Council has decided to charge a non-refundable fee of 250,000 rupees per unit. Traders are now being charged a monthly fee of 5,200 rupees in addition to the value-added tax and national building tax. There is no doubt that traders will confer the burden of these payments to the Municipal Council on the consumers. Traders point out that in addition to this burden, consumers will also have to face additional problems when they arrive here. When authorities deliberately do not take steps to resolve problems that they are already aware of, does it not show a lack of consideration for the taxpayer? Commissioner of the Sabaragamuwa Provincial Council, this one is over to you.
In other local stories, RMS Sarat Kumara, the newly appointed Commissioner General of the Registration of Persons, assumed duties today.
Sarat Kumar assumed duties following religious observances held at the Department for the Registration of Persons. We need to have a certain knowledge regarding how we provide national identification. The identity card is not simply used to identify a person. This is used in almost all other aspects. Therefore, it is my goal to provide every citizen of this country with a proper identification card.
Take a look at the weather situation now. The Nuwara town and several other areas have been inundated following heavy rains. The primary cause for the flooding is the opening of spur gates at major reservoirs.
The Department of Meteorology says that during the 24-hour period, which ended at 8:30 this morning, the highest rainfall was recorded from Anuradhapura, which was 145.4 millimeters. As a result of continuous rainfall, 2 spill gates of the Kala River have been opened by 17 inches. The Irrigation Engineer's Office at Kalabeva said that 14,500 cubic feet of water is being released from the gates per second. The roads of Vaukana to Kalabeva and from Hingurasweva to Eppavala were inundated when the Kalaoya broke its banks. 10 spill gates of the Rajangane Reservoir in Anuradhapura have been opened. Our correspondent said that the Kalantava area along the Anuradhapura Kandy Road and the Kalantava Mahavidyalaya were under 5 feet of water. The spill gates of the Hurlavawa have also been opened due to the rising water levels. The 12 spill gates of the Kaudula Reservoir in Polonnaruwa have been opened by 2 feet each, resulting in flooding in the Madrigiriya town. The reservoir engineer said that 10,000 cubic feet of water is being released per second from the spill gates. The excess water flooded several homes in Kirimatia. Meanwhile, a private bus was washed away close to the second mile post along the Athimalli-Monragala main road. It was reported that there were 10 persons aboard the bus at the time of the incident and they were rescued by the locals. Low-lying areas in Ambilipitiya, Hingura and Udugama were submerged as a result of the Konkatuara tank and the Himbura overflowing. Our correspondent said that several agricultural fields in the area were destroyed by the flood waters.